let's do should be quick. James?
Thank you, Chair. So the Council held a couple of public events in 2010 and 2011 on water management with an objective of engaging the community in the water management challenges for the region and increasing public understanding of both the issues and the Council's response to those. Earlier this year, staff identified that the growing level of public concern around a whole range of issues related to fresh water suggested that repeating this exercise would be valuable. And initially we had planned to do it around the middle of this year, and then with Havelock North Water and the elections coming along, it all got too hard. And so planning then moved to December. And so we have provided you with a draft outline of a program as a suggestion of what a day might look like, and we have booked a venue tentatively at EIT for Thursday the 15th of December. However, we note that it's pretty close to Christmas. We note that there are a range of other things going on at that time, including the Havelock North Water Inquiry will be meeting during that week. And so we wanted to get your feedback today on first the concept in its entirety, whether or not you see value in such an event. Secondly, whether you'd like to be involved and how you would like to be involved in such an event. And then thirdly, the timing of it. We could certainly defer through to February. The thinking around having it in December had been that the issues have been loud and growing, and there is a lot of community concern. And we were keen for there to be a vehicle for community dialogue and discussion on these issues ahead of the barbecue season, if you like. And the more we fall into sort of February, the more people go away continuing to have these discussions without the benefit of hearing from a range of experts and participants in the community on these issues, which was why we were keeping the idea of Thursday the 15th alive. So we just welcome any feedback.
Just before we go to the questions, James, can you get all the speakers? Can you meet the 15th?
So of those that have been identified on the suggested draft list, most have not yet been invited ahead of having this discussion today. What we have done is we've tested the availability of the Parliamentary Commissioner for the Environment, and she is unavailable. We have tentatively an agreement with the Minister for the Environment that he would make himself available, and we've had a decline from the Minister for Primary Industries as he is unavailable. So we may be able to get the Minister for the Environment on that day, but it's not yet guaranteed.
Okay, discussion and questions. Tom?
I think it's too close to Christmas.
We'll come back to you, Councillor. We'll just have this line on here. Councillor Belford?
Yeah, I would definitely speak for deferring this till next year. One could argue that the election has provided an adequate outlet for the political discontent around these issues, for the moment at least. And so we ought to be able to coast through the holiday safely, I would think. And but beyond that, I think the construction of this is wrong. The focus of this is strictly fresh water, and I don't think the public makes these neat distinctions. They are concerned with water, and it's groundwater, and it's drinking water, and it's fresh water, and it's everything. So that if we were going to have a review of the bidding, so to speak, it seems to me that we've planted our feet in some issues here today regarding water bottling and so forth, feedlots and things that people are concerned about. We might even have some progress on Central Hawke's Bay poo ponds, one way or the other. There's a lot of elements to this that I think could be encompassed in a review of where we are with water more comprehensively if we step back from this urgency and thought about it a bit more. So for those reasons, I would just say, plus it will compete with one of the slots for my Environment Committee meeting, so I don't want to see that happen. But I think there is a need for the council to initiate something like this, a public forum where people can hear or see how all the pieces fit together, at least as we view the world. And a lot of this will have progressed, I think, pretty significantly in different ways if we were talking about a mid-February or end of February meeting, and it'd be much more useful.
Thank you, Tom. That's your point too, Alan, isn't it, that we...
I just think try and do it. This pressure time's going to go off
Yeah,
half
it will
cocked.
be very difficult. Any other two comments, Peter, and then back to you, Paul?
Yeah, I probably agree with the comments from councillors Dick and Belford with regard to the haste with which we're trying to put this together. I'd actually like some more consideration of the agenda here to try and make sure that we're using it to support and enhance the tank process as well, and I'm not really seeing that quite covered here.
Yeah, it's been interesting hearing the debate about the dates, because I've changed my mind now. I'm quite happy with looking in February, so that's cool. With respect to the proposed agenda, I note in the paper it says that it was attached and we only received it this morning. That's fine in itself because that's probably a time I think. But we can make sure it goes up on the webpage with all the publicly available agenda and stuff, because that hasn't happened in the past. And I'm also too, and would be also encouraging the public to suggest ideas for topics they would like to have discussed. I mean, whether we take those on board or not is another story, but I think it should be, it's almost a semi-consultation process on what actually goes in the agenda, because then we know what people's hot buttons are.
Other questions or comments on it? I think, James, we have a pretty clear signal that it's February. I think we all agree it probably would be really hard to do. The other signal that we have from Council, and I think I propose that you should have a discussion with the Chair of the Environmental Services Group and his deputy, and widen this, because this is such a hot topic in our community, so widen the scope as best you can. Is everyone happy with that? So what are we going to do with these recommendations that we...
I'll just move that what do we call it? The symposium be deferred till February.
Do we have a second to that? We already have one, thanks. All those in favour that we defer that? All right, let's move. Look at that. We will break for...
Could just make one other observation about this. Given we now have got a bit more time, could I suggest that the Chair and the Chair of the Environmental Services Committee and Mr Palmer, and maybe a couple of others, have another look at the agenda and the people who have been invited here? We've drawn heavily on local people, that's very good. But I do think that if you had such a significant piece of work as this is a hot topic around New Zealand about the water, I think we could look to get some pretty impressive people who turn up to give it some assurance. I mean, I could almost, Stuart Nash has been pretty clear on his views on these, and I don't know, Peter Bevan and several of these here, I could almost write what they're going to say for me today with me. But I'm just saying, I just think some new and fresh would be good.
No, we take that on board. I thought that's what I already said, but it's great that you've covered it again. We will break for lunch. I did. Okay, we will come back here at 1 o'clock.